Is it all over for the Imperium if the Emperor dies? In the vast complex universe of Warhammer 40,000, the figure of the Emperor of Mankind occupies a central role that intertwines the fate of humanity, the Imperium, and the very fabric of the galaxy itself. Vastly revered yet shrouded in mystery, the Emperor's existence is pivotal to the ongoing narrative of Warhammer 40,000. His potential death raises profound questions about the implications of the Imperium, the forces of chaos, and the very state of reality within this grimdark universe. Would everything end if he died? This video endeavours to explore the narrative ramifications of the Emperor's death, contemplating the deep philosophical and narrative consequences that ripple through the Warhammer 40k lore. To understand the full impact of the Emperor's demise, one must first grasp the Emperor's role in the Warhammer 40k verse. He is not merely a ruler, he is the progenitor of humanity's most potent psychic abilities, an immortal being who has guided the humanity over the course of millennia. Bound to the Golden Throne, life support device, and psychic interface, his presence ensures the stability of the Astronomicon, which serves as a beacon for the Imperium's navigators to traverse the nightmarish warp. The Emperor's psychic prowess, combined with his unyielding will, protects the fragile facade of the Imperium from the encroaching darkness. Yet the Emperor's condition is dire. He is trapped in a perpetual state of dying, underscoring the vulnerability of his position. The greater narrative of Warhammer 40,000 raises an unsettling question. What would transpire if the Emperor were to die? Many fans and commentators have posited various theories, yet the consensus remains that his death would not merely signal the end of an era, but the potential disintegration of the Imperium itself. The Imperium relies heavily on the Emperor's psychic presence. His power maintains the balance of the warp, keeping the monstrous forces of chaos at bay while ensuring humanity's survival against various existential threats. Should he perish, it is inevitable that the psychic stabilizers that he embodies would falter. The ensuing turmoil would catalyze a chain reaction, leading to an eruption of chaos and other external threats, plunging the Imperium into utter chaos. This catastrophic shift would not only facilitate the rise of chaos, but would also empower other factions across the galaxy, including the Tyranids, the Necrons, and the Orcs, who would undoubtedly seize the opportunity to exploit the upheaval sparked by the Emperor's passing. Additionally, the socio-political landscape within the Imperium would experience seismic shifts. The cult of the God Emperor, which has risen to prominence in his absence, would likely splinter into warring factions. Numerous sects would vie for control, each proclaiming their interpretation of the Emperor's will. The structure of the Adeptus Terra, the governing body of the Imperium, would collapse, leading to a power vacuum filled by warlords, zealots, and rogue elements. The possibility of civil wars amongst the various factions would mirror real-world historical instances, where the death of a strong leader led to fragmentation and internal strife. Furthermore, the Astartes, the Adeptus Mechanicus, and even the Inquisition would grapple with their own crises of identity and purpose in the absence of the Emperor. The Space Marines created in the Emperor's image might find themselves facing existential doubts. Without the Emperor's guiding light, their commitment to the Imperium would be tested, resulting in potential schisms within the Astartes chapters as they endeavour to understand their place in a galaxy bereft of their divine progenitor. The Adeptus Mechanicus would wrestle with the loss of the machine god, leading to eroded faith in their doctrines and the belief systems that they maintain their society for centuries. Chaos worshippers might intensify their assaults, seeking to capitalise on turmoil, while the Inquisition would struggle to maintain order in a faithless Imperium, facing a populace more sceptical than ever before. In this possible future, the warp itself would become more chaotic, a realm that mirrors the chaotic conflict that would have overtaken the material universe. Cataloguing the Emperor's death, one cannot overlook the philosophical implications that ripple through the fabric of reality. The Warhammer 40k verse hinges upon inherent dualities: order versus chaos, good versus evil, and faith versus reason. The death of the Emperor, a figure embodying the very essence of humanity's hope, would serve as a powerful allegory for the fragility of belief and the inevitable decline that precipitates where faith falters. The Imperium, which has relied on the Emperor as both a spiritual and temporal authority, would come face to face with the stark realization that their faith was a construct sustained by the figurehead of their belief. Likewise, the notion of humanity's inadequacy would surface more prominently. The Emperor, as humanity's champion, was a beacon of hope against adversity. However, the narrative implies that the Emperor is also a reflection of humanity's greatest failings and darkest impulses. In his absence, the starkness of human nature would be laid bare, showcasing that the Imperium's zealous havens of purity often mask their authoritarianism, prejudice, and intolerance. As civil strife erupts and chaos reigns, one can postulate that the human condition would be thrust into a turbulent limelight, prompting a deep philosophical reflection on identity, existence, and morality. The Chaos Pantheon too would certainly see the Emperor's death as an opportunity to breach reality, seeking to dominate the remnants of the Imperium and usher in a new age of darkness. The forces of chaos thrive on despair, and the Emperor's demise would sow disillusionment among the ranks of loyal Imperial citizens. This would likely bolster the ranks of Chaos worshippers, swelling their numbers as they present themselves as the new bearers of revelation and salvation, vying for power in the midst of an Imperium ravaged by internal conflict and external cataclysms. Humanity's potential for malevolence, particularly where bereft of a unifying figure, could lead to its own downfall, further augmenting the cosmic horror that underlies the entire Warhammer 40K verse. Ultimately, the question of what happens if the Emperor dies looms large as an existential one within the Warhammer 40K verse, against a backdrop of epic battles, political intrigue, and dark narratives. The Emperor's fate is inextricably linked to the fate of the Imperium and, by extension, the entire galaxy. The ramifications of such a calamitous event would trigger an unprecedented unraveling of the very tenets of existence that have defined the Warhammer 40K narrative. It is a grim reminder of the fragility of hope, the perilous nature of power, and the inexorable march towards darkness inherent within the universe. As the story continues to unfold, players, readers, and fans are left to ponder the implications and possible outcomes, each contributing to the evolving tapestry that is Warhammer 40,000. This archive has now been fully decoded. Continue your journey into the librarium with the video displayed on screen. The vast wealth of the archives continues to reveal new knowledge of the dark history of the Warhammer 40K verse. In the grimdark of the far future, there is only war.